I've recently visited Kew Gardens in London, and I was going for an exhibition. I didn't expect to see anything special in the way of planting, but I was absolutely blown away by the colour and scent in their early winter, late spring display of plants. They've got a new winter garden there. It's Alexandra here from the Middlesized Garden YouTube channel and blog. And at a time when my garden is just basically green, grey, brown, I was so blown away by this colour and the scent that I had to share it with you, although I wasn't originally intending to do a video there, so it's all my handheld mobile phone. And let's start with the actual terrain. The new winter garden is on a very gentle hill, and they've got a path which winds up through it and then down through it. And this idea of doing a winding path side to side on a hill works very well to make the planting feel immersive. The other thing about a hill, or even a gentle slope, is that it shows off planting very well, particularly if it's low planting. And of course, the planting in late winter, early spring is quite low. This winding path thing was shown to great effect in the new Oudolf Landscape at RHS Wisley, so I'll put that video in the description below. But one of the things it makes you feel is completely immersed in the garden, and you can go much more close up. You don't have to look at how plants are for a distance. Some of the new winter garden is still being planted up and will fill out, but other parts of it are filled out. It's only a couple of years old, so it shows you can get this impact quite quickly. So let's start with the trees. There were obviously some mature trees there, and they've been beautifully shaped, and they make a sort of sculptural base for this winter garden. And it's a real demonstration of how, if you want to have your trees pruned, have them pruned by someone who knows what they're doing, because they look so beautiful without their leaves on, and they look better and lighter with their leaves on. And I've got a video about that I'll put in the description below, what you need to know before you speak to a tree surgeon. But I would just say it's really worth paying for someone who really knows their stuff. Then there are sort of specimen trees, which are there just to make you say, wow. And one of these is a Prunus cerula, and it's got a peeling bark, and that is placed so that when the winter sun hits the peeling bark, it's almost luminescent. So that I thought was very beautiful. But of course, the groups of Himalayan birch, or silver birch as we call it commonly, just look fantastic in winter, and they're a wonderful backdrop, sort of wintry, ghostly backdrop to the planting around them. Now, most of that planting around them is shade loving, because obviously for the rest of the year this area will be in shade, but these are sort of woodland edge plants. The really striking splashes of colour are coming from the stems of the Cornus, and there are three types of Cornus there: the Sibirica, Midwinter fire, and another sort of green-stemmed one I don't quite know the name of. And they're planted in clumps, so they look amazing en masse. Those have to be in a slightly sunnier part, because they won't get that stem colour if they're in full shade. And they've been combined also with Japanese forest grass, Jacquemontii macra, two different shades of the Cornus with two different shades of the Jacquemontii macra. That's really simple. In terms of the other shrubs, a shrub, by the way, is a plant which has a woody stem that stays above the ground all year round. And so, of course, Cornus are shrubs. But another really popular shrub-stroke tree in this winter garden is Hamamelis, or witch hazel. And they've got a couple of witch hazels here. One of them is the very famous Jelena, which is a sort of reddish colour. And the scent from the witch hazel is fabulous. The other scented shrubs are Sarcococca confusa, which is known as Christmas box, and also viburnum. There's a viburnum dawn, which is absolutely beautiful. There was one shrub I hadn't really seen before, which is called edgeworthia. And if you want to grow an edgeworthia, do take a look at my friends the horticulturalists video on how to grow it, because it is a most unusual plant, and once again it had a lovely fragrance. And these scented shrubs are planted throughout this winter border landscape, so that literally as we walked up the hill and down again, there was just gusts of the most beautiful perfume. So now looking at the way the planting works on the ground, it's snowdrops at this time of year, and there's some really good combinations here. The one I like the best is the snowdrops with Black Mondo, a kind of grass which is called Ophiopogon. I've probably not pronounced it properly, but I'll put it on the screen. And I think that black and white works beautifully. They've used the taller snowdrops throughout, I saw, and I think that makes a bit more of an impact. And of course, snowdrops look fabulous with hellebores, particularly a white hellebore there was quite a lot of, called Christmas Carol. The other thing that looks great with the snowdrops is the yellow winter aconites. There was also cyclamen coum, which is the really pretty pink cyclamen that comes out in early spring. All these plants are really quite common. I have some of them in my garden already, but they're just put together so well, which is why I wanted to show you this video. And if you'd like to see the amazing Oudolf Landscape at RHS Wisley, which I mentioned earlier, don't miss this video coming up now, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.